Thank you for watching Sportsmen. I'm Danny. That's Keith, and that's Corey. We're gonna do a little game here. We're gonna do a little
bounce back or no bounce back?
or no bounce back. So pretty much we're gonna list NFL players that have underachieved last year, or just for whatever reason, just did not perform.
Injuries, underachievements, whatever. We got 10 of them. We got a list of 10.
List of 10.
So we're gonna take you through. And we're gonna go bounce back or no bounce back, and then we'll get into it. And then we'd love to hear your responses. Before we get into it, we just want to say like and subscribe. We know it's kind of corny to ask, but it helps us out. So make sure to like and subscribe. And we're gonna jump right into this. So let's start off with a little new Cardinal, James Conner. What are you guys thinking? Bounce back or no bounce back? And tell me your reason. Whoever wants to start, let's pick
Corey,
it up.
pick it
up.
All right, so I'm gonna say bounce back for James Conner. I don't
bounce
think
back for James Conner.
Not to like when he first broke out into Pittsburgh type of bounce back, but he'll still do way better than he did last year. You can't do worse than the worst rushing attack in football. So I think there's going to be an upside. Plus, Kyler Murray running the ball helps take some of the pressure off you as of running.
Okay. Danny?
So, Corey, I gotta say, I do agree with that. I think that it doesn't get much worse than the worst rushing attack, which is why I say a bounce back. I'm not putting an outrageous tag on it per se, but I think he's gonna get back to normal numbers, pedestrian numbers. I don't think we're ever gonna see James Conner dominate like he did when Le'Veon Bell held out.
Okay. I'm going to go no bounce back. My reason behind it is because specifically Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, that offense is loaded. And James Conner is not the only running back in that system. I think it's going to be kind of a backfield of
whoever's hot.
Yeah, backfield by committee. I don't see James Conner just getting the workload that can give him a true bounce back. Now, bounce back from last year, maybe, but bounce back into that top player, that top fantasy player.
I don't think you'll ever do that.
I don't see it. So I'm gonna go no bounce back on James.
You don't think he's gonna be better than he was last year?
Maybe. Not necessarily. Yeah, no. I'm gonna go no bounce back. I'm gonna go no bounce back. Yeah, I'm gonna go no bounce back. Let's go down the list. Dak Prescott. What are we going with? I'll start this one off. I'm gonna go bounce back for Dak Prescott, and I'm gonna go bounce back in a major way. Possible bounce back, comeback player of the year. I think Dak Prescott is just at that level of elite. He's just surrounded by so much talent. Now, that was a gruesome injury. We saw it. We also know that Dak Prescott is a hard worker. We see him put it down on the field every Sunday. Sometimes on Monday, sometimes on Thursday, sometimes on Saturday. It depends on what time of the year it is. But we see the man put it down week by week. I think Dak Prescott bounces back in a major way. So I'm going to go big bounce back, potential comeback player of the year.
So as far as statistically wise, I think he will have a bounce back year. As far as the Cowboys in general, that whole organization still worries me. So I could still see Dak Prescott like he was doing last year, putting up good numbers and them still losing games and not making the playoffs. So as Dak as a quarterback and statistically wise, I'm gonna put him for bounce back. But as far as them still definitively winning games and going to the playoffs like they should and dominate that division, that's still a question mark for me.
Okay.
So I think among all the players that we're gonna get through, I think that he probably has the biggest bounce back out of anybody. The reason being is that they lack defense, and they've been addressing defense. This past draft, they did really well on defense. You got to see it come together. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta expect that Zeke is not going to suck again. It's not that he sucked. He just took forever to get the.
No, he statistically didn't play as good as when he played
did.
with
You're right. He
Prescott.
did. But absolutely, he could be on this list too.
Seriously.
For real. But as far as just personnel and just skill set alone, as long as he's close to what he was last year, dude. Last year he was on pace to set record numbers. He was having an amazing season, and then that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up on where he left off when he got hurt and say that he's probably gonna light it up. Washington scares me in that division though.
No, hell yeah.
But he lights it up. I don't know if they win the division, but he lights it up.
Hell yeah. All right, so let's move it on. Who's the next guy up?
Let's talk about Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, my man. Corey, start us off.
So I'm gonna go Joe Burrow with a no bounce back.
No bounce back.
Oh my
Joe
Lord!
Burrow. Okay.
Sounds so hard.
No bounce back. Give it to us.
And the reason why I'm going no bounce back, not that Joe Burrow doesn't have the talent to do what he can do.
AJ Green's not there, right?
Not even because of that. Well, they have 700 wide receivers. He'll be fine to throw. He can pick and choose.
And Joe Mixon.
But you have no line to protect him. That's what got him
back.
Injured in the first place. Is the fact that he had no line. He was running for his life. He can't slide, and he had to throw the ball 60 times. And if you're going to make him do that again, you're just risking injury at this point with this guy. You're going to get him hurt again and stuff like that. And no, he's not going to be able to perform well because that's a dumpster fire of an organization. It's almost as bad as Houston.
Okay.
Bold.
Bold.
But I like it.
Yeah, bold.
It's a good take.
Alrighty. Danny?
Alright, so I'm going to say he bounces back. And I'm going to say he picks up where he left off. He's going to throw a shitload. Like you said it best. They got to protect their investment. So health determining. Let's say it's the same shit as last year. He's getting hit. As long as he stays healthy, it's a bounce back. Like he's going to produce if he's on the field.
Okay.
Point blank. Protected or unprotected, he's going to produce.
Okay. I'm going to go bounce back. I go bounce back in a big year again. Potential comeback player of the year. Joe Burrow was the real deal. I agree with Corey in that line is suspect.
Yep.
And that is very important.
That's right.
If you can't keep the man healthy, doesn't matter how well he's playing. If you can't keep him out there,
What got lost him Rookie of the Year because he got taken out.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if he would have had the year that Justin Herbert had.
He was ahead of him though.
If he's
Justin
healthy,
Herbert didn't have as many starts.
One less start.
No, Justin Herbert.
Because Justin Herbert came in week 2 when Tyrod Taylor
Did
got
he?
hurt. Yeah.
when the doctors took him out.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it was only a 1 week gap.
Yeah, no, I still don't think Joe Burrow would have had as good of a rookie year as
I'm with you, Corey. I think it would have
Justin
been.
Herbert.
It would have been close. I don't know if Joe Burrow, finally messed
It's
it up.
alright. Plural, non-plural, we get it.
I was 2 for 3.
That's right.
But Joe Burrow will be. I don't know. It's like I didn't think he was going to be able to keep it up the whole season last year. I think Justin Herbert is just that.
I think
talented.
Herbert's the guy.
That's all. I think Herbert's that talented, but
that would have been a neck.
I'm
Coulda,
still-
shoulda,
I'm
woulda.
still-
It's a hindsight
I'm still
thing.
a no, but I'm ready to switch it up if you guys are to the
Go
next
ahead.
player.
All right,
Keep the ring rolling, brother.
OBJ?
Let's go OBJ.
OBJ, bounce back or no bounce back?
I'll go last on this one.
All right, yeah, Danny, kick us off on this one.
Okay, so this is the one of the players I feel like is towing that fine line of a bounce back because OBJ has been injured so often in the past couple years. Like, you know, like it or not, he was hurt on the Giants, went to the Browns, got hurt, then got hurt again. So it's like, do you really trust OBJ to go out and make these all-star crazy one-handed catches? He's gonna get hurt doing it. So I'm gonna say I gotta say bounce back.
Okay.
Because I think Baker is maturing as a quarterback, and I think OBJ has gotten the fresh air, and he's seeing that, like, damn, my quarterback doesn't actually need me. So, with that being said, I think OBJ is going to show out and try to be like a team player rather than a get me the fucking ball. I'm OBJ.
Okay.
I know that's a lot to ask from like someone with diva-like qualities, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think a bounce back, not to Giants OBJ, but a bounce back.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go with a bounce back for OBJ. And my reason behind it is kind of where you were starting to go with the Baker Mayfield thing. I think Baker Mayfield is maturing. I think he's going to realize what he has in OBJ. I think OBJ is, I don't know, like you said, is he going to get back to that Giants form? Probably not. I don't think there's a question that Jarvis Landry is the number one receiver on that team.
Should be,
but I think that Odell bounces back relative to what he's been in the last few years as long as he's healthy. Corey?
All right, so I'm going with Big fat no bounce back.
No bounce back.
No bounce back for
All right,
Odell.
let's hear it.
He is the cancer of that team. He is the reason why they started to struggle in the middle of the season because he was crying about not getting the ball, and then he got hurt and everything else. And then the second that he's not on the field and they run the offense the way they want to run it, where they run 3 times and then pass and then run 3 times and then pass, and it's a system that works and everyone can figure it out and they all mesh well. And if you need to be replaced, you need to be replaced because you were just being a cancer to the team at this point.
Okay.
They were on a consistent win streak and tear once you got hurt and you were gone because you were no longer forcing Baker to be like, get me the ball, I'm open, give me, like, Baker is not the face and not that big leader that you would want out of a quarterback.
I disagree.
I don't think Baker's that big of a leader.
We're gonna pause this list for a second.
I think that just because it's straight up, like, and my biggest example of that is when, and this is totally opinionated, but when UFC at the pay-per-view, when it was Myles Garrett and Baker was sitting next to him, and they didn't even mention him. They just only talked about Myles Garrett. Like, Baker's
not... So you think that has to do with Baker Mayfield not being a leader of the Browns? You think that the UFC not mentioning Baker Mayfield has to do with Baker Mayfield not being a leader of the Browns? Are you sick?
I don't know.
Are you serious?
I don't see it out of him.
You're coming through at the Sportsman desk with that kind of nonsense, Corey?
Maybe.
Like, listen, and you claimed it was opinionated. That's fine.
They all bought in. Nick Chubb has went out there and said Baker's the leader of this team.
I'm not going to say that they don't like him, but I just don't see him being like that Tom Brady-esque drill sergeant yelling at your face.
I don't think every leader needs to be Tom Brady.
That's what I would want out of a leader of a quarterback.
I don't think Drew Brees was Tom Brady.
Yes, Drew Brees would yell in people, get in people's faces.
He's a leader. There's a difference between Tom Brady demands excellence.
And so that's what you should want out of somebody.
You're right, you should. But there's a difference.
Yeah, and again, the leader of men, you can lead men in more ways than just yelling.
I don't want to look at the way Tom Brady does it. I really don't. Because Peyton Manning never yelled at people.
Yes, no, he did. He did.
Everyone does it because Aaron Rodgers does it. Brett Favre did it. There's not a single excellent great quarterback that we watch.
I'm sure
that doesn't do that.
But you're saying Tom Brady mounts people off on the sideline when they fuck up.
That's because no one can say anything.
And you see it. Like, that's the thing. You see it often, like very often. You don't see Drew Brees doing shit like that. Like, not everyone's the same leader. Like, that's the whole point.
As long as you can lead, as long as people buy into your system, and it's fine. Like you said, it was an opinionated argument.
But you don't think Baker really? You don't think he's a leader?
Because I don't just see it as I see him as like.
I see Myles Garrett being like
I
defensive
literally
leader.
see him, especially Myles Garrett being a defensive leader. But I see him being like, hey, you want to go get a beer?
So you think
it's just that kind of, but that's not a leader. Just going to go get a beer, like you don't always,
getting a beer with your team leader.
It's camaraderie.
Because the whole thing is there's a point of camaraderie, but at the same time you don't ask to go get a beer with your boss majority of the time. Most jobs you do not get a beer with your boss.
Your quarterback is.
If you get along,
and again, your leader is not your boss.
To a certain extent, it is.
Yeah, and again, if you get, I've had many a beer with my boss.
I understand where you're coming from. I just, I think it's crazy to say he's not. I think he's not the leader, like a galvanizing figure on that team because he is.
And again, I just don't think it's fair to compare his leadership.
It's opinionated. You said it the best.
Yeah, it's fine.
This is opinionated. You're right.
It's you can make any argument you want. That's why we're here. But completely uncut from the Sportsman.
Seriously.
But all right, we'll move on to the next one before we get too crazy into that one. And it's the big man, Sam Darnold, the Big D, down in the Carolinas. Who wants to start this one?
I will.
All right. Let me hear it.
I don't think it's a bounce back.
Okay.
And I like Sam Darnold, but I think he's playing how he did with the Jets. Maybe a little better, but I wouldn't necessarily call that a bounce back. Because I think it's going to take more than 1 year for Sam Darnold. I really do. And I'm not saying this is like an indictment on Sam Darnold, but there's years of reversing that has to go into Sam Darnold right now.
Okay.
I think the addition of McCaffrey and McCaffrey alone is going to make him probably more productive, but I don't want to sit here and say I think he's going to fucking blast numbers out of the water and bury what he did on the Jets, because we've seen Sam Darnold be very good on the Jets for a streak of games, and we've seen him really suck. So Carolina's team, like it or not, is not set up on all three levels to be elite.
No.
You see, like, I don't know. Like, I like the intangibles of Sam Darnold, but I give it 2 years. I don't think he bounces back this year.
So I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum again. I'm on a bounce back for Sam Darnold. I think that Sam Darnold is going to put up his best season so far in the NFL this year. I think that, just like you said, having Christian McCaffrey, like, it may be cheap little yardage and how he gets his touchdowns, but if it is what it is and that's how they get the job done, that's how they run the offense, he's going to have better stats. And so long as he can stay healthy, he's going to have it.
Plus Robbie Anderson, plus Samuel.
And I like LaFleur. Yeah. I'm a Saints fan, and I like the way LaFleur runs his offense and stuff like that. And I feel like Carolina's just such a gritty team. Like, every game they were in was close and high scoring. It wasn't even like it was they got blown out of the water team. That's why they lost so many games. Like, there are a few big pieces away, I feel like, especially more on defense. But I think that Sam Darnold will still do what he has to do. Okay,
so I'm gonna go no comeback or no bounce back for Sam Darnold, and I'm gonna kind of lean a little bit on what Danny said. Is my thing is he's had flashes where we're like, all right, Sam Darnold is great, but you've been quoted in the past, Corey, as saying that the third year is where you see it from a quarterback and you don't see it. And, like, listen, Danny and I are Jets fans, so you've been through a lot of Jets shit with us. We're coming from a dumpster fire that was Adam Gase. So Sam Darnold did not have a lot of promise in what he was going to do, but he also didn't flash so much of...
But look what he did to Tannehill. He almost killed Tannehill's career.
Yes, I understand that, but...
You're right.
Yeah, and Tannehill was better than Darnold was when he was with Gase.
What pick was Tannehill taken? Because I'm sure it was at number 3 overall.
I don't think as high as Darnold.
He wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Darnold has it. And again, we talked, like, with the Baker thing with leaders, is Darnold is someone I don't see as a leader. And you guys know I've said this, is Darnold's just
quiet.
He has no juice. He has no pizzazz. He's got no flair. And I think in the NFL, with these type of people, with these type of characters you're going to be around, you need that. Like, listen, we're all in agreement. Baker Mayfield's not going to scream in anyone's face. But Baker Mayfield is the guy you'd want to go grab a beer with. Sam Darnold is not. He's not.
All right, but I still think he'll do better.
All right, so we're moving on. Let's go little New York Giants. Saquon Barkley, the man with the big legs.
All right, I'll start this one off. No bounce back for Saquon Barkley.
No bounce back for Saquon.
I have no faith in the Giants as far as their line. I know I use that same argument for Joe Burrow, but I feel the same way that Saquon is always running for his life, and he's always getting attacked within the first 4 yards back in his own backfield before he can go and make a play. He's good enough to where he breaks out and gets 10 yards, but that's why he gets hurt.
Yeah.
So I think Saquon's going to get hurt again, then he's going to be known as that running back that's hurt every year and like one of those what could have been.
Okay, Danny?
I think he bounces back. And I think the amount of offensive weapons, you said it though, you're right with the offensive line. But I think the amount of offense they've gained is going to take a lot of pressure off them. Mm-hmm. You got to defend multiple tight ends. You got to defend Galladay. You've got to defend Sterling Shepard. Like, Evan Ingram's not no chump, and you got Kyle Rudolph. So like you got a lot of guys you have to defend, and you have to worry about Saquon catching the ball. Mm-hmm. So assuming he's close to 100%, I think he bounces back.
Okay.
Maybe not to the
and you have to have trust in Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on a second. Trust in Daniel Jones is a whole different topic.
But it goes into...
I'm talking about Saquon's, just Saquon's game. I understand it's predicated on Daniel Jones, but I'm saying that, like, dude, there's been running backs that have been elite with shit.
Yeah.
So...
Well, what's interesting for me is it's funny that you brought up the Daniel Jones thing. This is really the only guy I have that we're going to talk about that I feel like their comeback is really predicated on the play of their quarterback. And not just their quarterback, but is this offense going to work around Daniel Jones? And it's funny because we just talked about Sam Darnold. We all stood there this time last summer before we were podcasting, but stood there in this same spot and said, this entire season for Sam Darnold is his big season, his year 3. It's what can you do? So it's a teeter-totter for me with Saquon Barkley. I'm going to go bounce back on Saquon Barkley for this year, but I'm going to say that I don't have a ton of faith in Daniel Jones. I don't have a ton of faith in Thomas, the tackle they took last year. I think they missed out on 3 excellent freaking tackles in Becton, Willis, and the other guy. I can't think of his name right now, but it doesn't matter. I think it teeters on Daniel Jones, but I'm going to say come back for Saquon Barkley, but then it's going to be completely new because I think they're going to move on from Daniel Jones.
All right. So let's talk about the other arguable best running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey. Bounce back or no bounce back?
All right, I'll start this one since I just talked. I'm already hot. For so Christian McCaffrey, I'm going to go bounce back, but I'm not going to go like bounce back to like what we used to see. The thing is, running backs are like a super expensive car, or any cars. The second you ding it, the second you drive it off the lot, it's losing value. It's losing what it is. And Christian McCaffrey was dinged in a big way. Christian McCaffrey is so great because he's insanely elusive. He's not going to run people over, which he will, but he does. I see these running backs that come back from these big injuries as these big guys.
What was his? He didn't tear anything though.
Well, he
just had like a soft tissue injury.
Yeah, and then he was brought back and then re-injured.
Yeah.
So, and again, like think about how. Yeah, no, I agree. And again, this is kind of predicated on that.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna go bounce back.
You're
I'm gonna go bounce back. Still insanely elite, but I don't know if he bounces back.
Gingerly bounce back.
100%.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think he'll have a good season. I don't think he's gonna have anything compared to where he almost was MVP caliber season. That's a lot to ask out of a running back to consistently get that and to get back to that point, especially after injuries. I still think he's going to be, so I'm going to put bounce back, like he's still going to be one of the best running backs in the league this year, but he's not going to be anywhere close to the numbers he was for back in the day.
Okay. Danny?
I trust Christian McCaffrey. And I believe he's going to be the same Christian McCaffrey we've always known. I think it's a full...
So you're going bounce back 100%.
I think it's a full bounce back.
Are you going to call potential comeback player of the year right here?
Ooh.
Right here, right now?
No, I don't think he'll get comeback player of the year.
Okay.
Even if he shows out and sets records. I still don't think he'll get comeback player of the year because that goes to quarterbacks.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Yeah. It's just... All right. I just want to make one comment. If his rushing is lacking, he's going to make up in the receiving game.
Okay, so you see his all-purpose is bouncing back 100%.
His all-purpose availability, period, especially to someone like Sam Darnold, who is likes to check down. Here's someone like that, he's going to get peppered.
Well, it's funny that you say all-purpose availability. That is the big question. I feel like with anyone
assuming
this type of is availability. Is he going to have the availability? Can he stay healthy the whole season? And even if he doesn't, are they going to gingerly bring him back? Are they going to bring him back? Like you said, he's had a whole year, but someone like that is your Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like, you're not bringing that man out in the rain. I'm sorry.
No.
But, all right, you guys want to move it on? Moving on. Danny, let us know about Carson Wentz. Let's know about Carson Wentz, my man.
Carson Wentz.
Down in Indy with that line, with the Great Wall of Indianapolis.
So, Carson Wentz, I don't think he bounces back. I think his confidence is ruined.
Okay.
And I think it only takes a couple hits to rattle him.
Okay.
I know the Colts have a great line. I get it. I know they have a great defense. They can keep him off the field.
Great running backs.
I know he's got a good running backs. I get it. All the pieces are there. It's a personal thing for me. I think he got hurt, and I think he's afraid to get hurt. And that's where I stand.
Okay.
All right, that's an interesting take. I'm full on bounce back, 100% bounce back
for Carson Wentz.
Bounce back just because of
right?
Well, not even that. My whole thing is just
that's
the team was good enough to take Old Man Rivers to the playoffs. Like no matter what, he's going to have a better season than he had last year.
Hold on. I said the team is great.
That's why he will have a bounce back season because he cannot play worse than how bad he played in Philadelphia. With that team, I don't think it's possible. You can get a lower tier quarterback and they'll still have a good season.
Interceptions. What are you talking about?
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think.
Listen, I'm not saying I don't. That's fine.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go no bounce back for Carson Wentz. My thing is I'm gonna lean on actually something that Corey said. Corey, you said that team took Carson Wentz to the playoffs, and or Philip Rivers to the playoffs, and I 100% agree that team took Philip Rivers to the playoffs. Philip Rivers did not look great last year. He did not look like the Philip Rivers of old. So I don't think if you can take a potential Hall of Famer like Philip Rivers, who at that age regardless, but Philip Rivers has never been as bad as Carson Wentz was. Now, will Carson Wentz bounce back statistically? I think probably a little bit. He'll definitely do better with that team. He should, I would hope. But I don't think he bounces back to great quarterback or even like really good.
We've seen elite Carson Wentz. Yeah. We've seen great Carson Wentz. I don't think it will ever happen.
And in that easy of a division, I think
it's why do you think it's so easy?
The Cowboys are stacked and Washington is
Cowboys,
scared.
they're Indianapolis. No. That's just Houston.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jacksonville,
the Titans
Houston.
are good.
That's one
Jacksonville's
team.
on. You have no idea what Jacksonville's going to look like. Literally. We can say or we can talk all the shit we want until they actually play.
I have no faith in Jacksonville.
All right, well then.
I kind of lean on you there with no faith in Jacksonville. But if Carson Wentz is horrible,
and Texas suck, yeah.
And again, it's interdivisional though. Interdivisional changes everything. How many times over the years have we seen horrible Jets teams beat literally Super Bowl winning Patriots teams?
I hear you.
Like it happens every other year. Like literally every other year it happens. All right, let's move on to the last guy on the list, Nick Bosa, our defensive guy. Are we saying comeback or no comeback?
I'll start this one off. I'm going to go comeback, but not to like where he was Defensive Player of the Year. I think without Salah being there, that it's going to hurt the defense.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. That I think that...
So him losing Salah, you think is
Salah and all the other defensive players that they lost. How Richard Sherman's not there. Mm-hmm. I think he'll still be a beast.
Sherman may not.
And he'll still put up, good numbers, but not to where he was Defensive Player of the Year. Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Corey, this is the rare time to where I absolutely agree with every single word that you just said. I think the presence of Salah on that defense, him not being there, is going to affect it because I don't think they're going to run the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. And all the other players that they're missing, like I just said it, like Richard Sherman's probably not going to be there. That is a fucking leader. That is a leader on your team.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm not saying that Nick Bosa is not capable of leading a team because he is, but the skill is there. The skill set is absolutely there. I think scheme is going to affect him this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Corey, I'm with Danny. I'm in agreement with you. I think he comes back. I just don't think he comes back to insane. Like, I think he probably gets double-digit sacks. So, I'm going to go bounce back because that's bounce back for any defensive player. But not too crazy levels. And I think it all depends on San Francisco because they're in a weird spot where they're in a great team. They're an elite team. But they have quarterback.
They're in the toughest division. They're the opposite of the Colts.
They're definitely the toughest division. But all right, those are our opinions on our bounce back players. Make sure to comment. Let us know what you think. What did we get these guys right? Did we get these guys wrong? And what you think about them. We're gonna cut it off there. Be sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check us out every Friday at the Twitch/The Sportsmen. We go live every 8 p.m. Eastern every Friday. Check us out. We'll see you next time.